Hello and welcome to the very first devlog for Project 86. Project 86 is a steampunk roguelite first person shooter with a heavy emphasis on tight gunplay and the perk system. So, we are Lynx Studios and we are proud to bring you these devlogs and see what position the game is and where it's going to go forward. So, first things first. So, Roguelite First Person Shooter. So this game is heavily inspired by games such as Gunfire Reborn, Witchfire, RoboQuest, Dead Zone, and we aim to be a fantastic game with heavy emphasis on the perk systems, which I will go through it with you. So, like in a normal roguelite, you'll be battling through rooms, defeating enemies, earning rewards such as perks or items at the end, progressing through until you fight the big boss through the level. The very first level that you'll be playing here that is in development is our train station level, as you can see. And as you can see, we've already developed quite a few of the movements and mechanics. There's a shooting mechanic, all the movement and mechanics, crouching, sprinting, shooting is in there, reloading animations, and not animations, but the mechanics are behind there, as well as the basic perk systems, and AI is already developed. It's just not placed in level, but it's just an overview of how it is. So why don't I just start us off with possibly the design elements of the perks of why this is the game that you should be following. So let me show you a little bit of the perks for the perk system. Now, the biggest focus for our game will be the perk systems, and as you can see, we already are working on a few of the perk systems. These are only the confirmed perks, the unconfirmed, which you're seeing a little bit of a sneak peek of the workings are. These are all of the perks, like all of the perk ideas that we have so far. There's a massive amount of perk ideas that we have that we're just sifting through to pick the best ones. We've got everything from melee, SMG, shotguns, pistols, snipers, electric, and ice. And obviously fire and poison will come in further on. Then obviously the medic, tank, engineer and commanders ideas are already there. But moving on to the actually confirmed perks. So let me show you an example first. So I will be showing the example of the kind of perk system that we're going for with the tank class and the ice perks. So as you can see, there's the tank class, ice perk and ice tank. I'll explain that in just a moment. First things first, let's start with tank class. The tank class gets so we call these primary. So a elemental so a class perk, elemental perk, these should be fixed, switched. We call these kind of like the first perks, like the first set of perks. These are your flavorings you get for your perks. So the tank obviously is your class, the character that you get to pick. An ice perk, obviously you get ice elemental damage, and obviously there is the pistol perks as well, so you get special bonuses to when you play with pistols. So what is the tank class? So obviously there's an option of these sub perks, or the second line of perks that you get. You get to pick 3 out of 5 of these, so you won't be able to go through all of these. You get set of 3, potentially more. We'll see how the gameplay is. So from things like threatening presence, iron constitution, juggernaut charge. Iron constitution is there twice. So the tank class. That should be pain threshold, for example. So let's say you pick iron constitution. So what does that mean? Taking damage gives constitution stacks. Each stacks provides +2 resistance per hit. Or you get a juggernaut charge. After double pressing sprint, your player character charges forward, knocking down enemies, and you are immune to crowd control. Obviously, you as a class thing, you get a riot shield. But what if you wanted to go further? And this is what these lines are, that we call these evolution to your subclass. So you can evolve your riot shield, for example, into a tower shield, a shield that turns into an extended version of the tower shield that covers the whole player, mitigating all damage, but you may not use your weapons. Or you can evolve your riot shield into a mounted device, where you place your riot shield, it expands, and it becomes a mobile barrier, and then you can move around that way. Or if we, for example, take Last Stand, when your armor breaks, release a shockwave that staggers enemies and restores 20% health. An evolution of that might be an explosive retaliation. The last stand shock will deals heavy AoE damage, knocking down enemies and temporarily reduces enemy attack speed. Or you can evolve it into triggering last stand. You gain 50% damage, 30% reload and fire rate for 6 seconds. So that's the kind of thing evolved. And again, you get the same thing with ice. So ice, obviously you get to freeze. You do ice damage equal to 15% of your damage weapon on top of your weapon. So obviously you get freeze, you have a chance to freeze an enemy, so you cannot move, cannot attack. An evolution of that might be when a frozen enemy dies instantly if your shot deals more than 50% of the total health, leaving behind an icy patch. Or an icebreaker, frozen slowed enemies explode when killed, dealing moderate AoE damage and heavily slowing surrounding enemies. This kind of thing, so you get to evolve. But the fun part is when you start mixing the first set of perks. What do you get? Well, let's say you get a tank class and an ice perk. You'll be able to move into something called an ice tank combo. And obviously here you see ice pistol, that'll be the same thing. That's still a whip when it comes to confirmed perks. So, as an ice tank, you get to pick one of these two. But you get access to two that you get to pick off. You get Glacial Armor or Frost Wall. And then these get their own set of evolutions as well. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's have a look into the combo perks. So here we have the tank and ice combo. So Glacial Armor. Killing an enemy with ice damage grants temporary ice armor equal to 10% of your armor rating, reducing incoming damage by 30% for 5 seconds or until your armor breaks. Now, an evolution of that might be ice spikes. When your Glacial Armor is active, you get ice spikes that deals 200% of the damage of a melee damage return. Or when your Glacial Armor explodes in a Fraction Nova, it detonates in an Ice Nova, dealing AoE damage. Or instead of Glacial Armor, you can pick Frost Wall, which means you can summon ice, waist-high ice wall in front of you, blocking enemy movement and line of sight for 6 seconds. Evolution of that again is Cryo Shards. When it destroyed, it shatters and sends a cone of spikes. Twin Crest allows you to have 2 ice walls and ice palisade, rise, icicles shaping for that enemy who touch or walk through the wall take damage. These are really the meat and bones of the ice that we want to do. And obviously we have combinations. If we look into the unconfirmed perks, let's say snipers are quite fun. So what do we have? We have combos for ice snipers and ice. Sniper electric, snipers with pistols. Switching your weapon within 2 seconds of sniper shot grants 50% movement. Medic sniper, so you can do long range healing. Tank and sniper, believe it or not, you'll be able to play as a tank sniper and make it work. Engineer sniper, commander, melee and snipers, that sort of thing. So no matter what you get a small selection of perks, but even with those small selection, there is a massive amount of combinations that you can go through, or you'll be able, and then you'll be able to explore so many of these perks when you play our game. Speaking of weapons, why don't we just quickly move on to the weapons as well. So we've got a wide selection of weapons that are not just your fantasy laser-like weapons. We have but we don't really want to go. We want our weapons to be grounded in reality. So hence we have created quite a few weapons. A lot of them you may recognize. So we have the Wild West classics. So we've got double barrel shotguns, lever action revolvers, but we also have a little bit of the early 20th century 1920s like a cutoff for non-fictional design. So we have the Chicago typewriter, we have the Colt 1900, and we have the trench gun that will be in there as well. And these guns are all rigged up and now being animated right now. But we also have the Cold War inspired weapons. So we obviously have something like this G3 that we turn into very much a steampunk design, something that very much feels real. It is based on a real weapon, but it's got steampunk elements here. Alternative universe versions of ourselves. Currently we have the G3 and the MP5 inspired weapon. But with the MP5, let me show you the cool things that you'll be able to do with the weapon. As you can see, persistent upgrades will not just extend characters. So part of the persistent upgrades that we want to introduce for players is weapon upgrades. Kind of like Call of Duty has, you level up your weapons and you unlock attachments. The same thing with these weapons. We want to be able to give players the customization, so not just weapon skins like some might do, but we want to place to be able to customize the weapons. The more levels you have in the weapon, the more attachments you unlock to tailor the weapon to your likings, how it looks, how it feels, everything to do. And we obviously have some very cool, we have a free slate in terms of the attachment that we can have. As you can see, some very awesome old school styled scopes will be present on there. Some of you playing Hand Shotgun might recognize some of those scopes, but that's the kind of weapon designs that will be gone. And not the persistent progression will not just be characters, will not just be more health, more shield, more armor, movement, damage. It will go to your weapons as well, so it gives you a reason to play with very different weapons. Speaking of characters, let me introduce you to our first character that we have designed, and that will give you the idea of the world that we'll be presenting for you. This is not just a steampunk world, but this is a steampunk world with a little bit of a fantasy twist. It might be meddling too many, but I think it will create a much more interesting way of going about it. So let me introduce you to Box, our orc tank. Yes, our tank is of orcish race, which hopefully means that you get excited for some of the other characters that we will be introducing. But here is some of the preliminary designs for our orc tank, our Box, as we have become to call him. Actually, his backstory is he was found in a box by the team, and you can see some of the concept art of the box. May get you some of the stuff. So this was like the very early sketches of, obviously as a tank class he gets the riot shield, and these were some of the previous discussed deployable characters. Some 3D model, and here's the concept art for the deployable shield that he gets. Obviously a spinning orc, and some of the 2D animations that our 2D animator has had fun doing. But orc tank, there was so much fun. The team had so much fun designing it, and we cannot wait for you to see the orc tank. The other character that is currently being in the works is Talvi. Talvi is our snow leopard medic. Yeah, Talvi is our snow leopard medic, who's been lovingly crafted by our team. They are very fond of her, and she serves as a very good contrast to Box, a very brutish, strong man, comes in charges, thinks with his fists rather than with his head, while Talvi is the more nimble, very petite in comparison, thinks more before doing anything, and always bails our good old Box with some good old heals. It's the good old barbarian and cleric combination that you might see within D&D, someone where a lot of these races that will be coming from. So what about that first level? So I've mentioned that we do have a first level blocked out. Well, hopefully I mentioned that I have a first level blocked out. So let's have a quick run through the first level. So obviously, you'll be able, potentially be able to notice the length and the scale of this room, the different places or playstyles that you'll be able to play through all of these levels. As you can see here, immediately as when we exited the first carriage, we can already go left and right, and both of these ways lead to the same objective, so it gives you many different ways. But the level has been lovingly crafted by our level designers, and he's done a fantastic job on this level. The first level in this game will take you through the train yard, so you'll be battling through the train station. Like a good old steampunk setting, will be allowing you to go to background areas, workshop stations where trains get serviced, passenger areas, and you have to battle through both the main train stations as we're seeing here, but we're now going through the maintenance back rooms where the team smiths are. But you also be able to battle through the main areas, the main platforms. You'll go into the underground metros, and this up there will be a monorail. So quite a large area and level for the start. And this is only part one. There's there will be areas beyond this. So you go from the train station. From the train station, you go through to the cargo terminal. From the cargo terminal, you go to the steamsmiths, where the actual main train engines are serviced. Everything is done there to give you a wide variety. From there, you move on to the dockyards. From the dockyards, you will go on to the ships such as the Great SS Great Eastern. You will then move on to the airship dockyards, from where you will have the final boss fight for this level before you get onto a steam airship carrier. So let me just quickly run you through the rest of the level. You can already see there's a lot of work that has been put into this, and a lot of this stuff has been done in a very quick time. So there's certainly a high level of skill within our team. Again, this is taking this long without any enemies. Now imagine how it will be battling through all of the enemies. And again, this is just first stage. This is not even the end of the level. So right here, where you drop, this is the end of the level. Like I mentioned, you will have the cargo terminal back there. You will have the dockyards, and then you will have the steam airships, the airship aircraft carrier itself. Now, where is this all coming from? When you're not battling. So when you're not battling, we have taken a book out of games such as Dungeon Defenders, where you have this main hub. So will be the main hub where you and your friends will be able to meet up. You'll be able to decide who you are, where you're playing, and what you're doing. So let me start you off with a firing range where you will have access to all kinds of weapons. Pick it up and test your weapons out. Obviously, at the moment, we're in a very early stage, and this is what we're having. But this is going to be your firing range. You will have your weapons that you will be able to test, including some of the builds that you've discovered. You will not have access to builds that you have not discovered, so you will have to play the builds to be able to then create your own builds. Here will be the shop where you'll be able to buy and well, buy some stuff. So mostly you'll be like potentially like your upgrades and such. Here will be the bar area where you'll be able to choose your different characters, and over here will be your main sleeping barracks areas. Up over the top, so one of these trains, I believe it is that train over there. So this will be the main command center. So from here, you will have the map of the area and where you select the missions before going on and proceeding down the train through here on board. Now the story is you are a mercenary group, which is why you're on the underground. You live in a underground metro station, underground station, and you're a mercenary group trying to survive. Storyline will be explained later, but at the moment, this is a lot of the stage 4 development. Before I let you go, there is other stuff that we have worked on. We have worked on AI, so there are basic AIs that have been done. There's AI that will hide behind cover and reload. Will see the enemy, try to surround see the player as the enemy, surround the player, use the cover system, as well as patrol between the areas as well. So a lot of that has been created, and a lot of it, as well as the basic perk systems, have been created. It's all about putting together, which we will follow up in the next devlogs. Hopefully by June 19th, you will see a devlog where all of these things come together. So this has been the very first, very quick, very crude devlog of what's happening at Lynx Studios in regards to Project 86, and hopefully you will join us on board with this project and, well, see where it goes.